for families. Most people, this is unexpected.
There may be no place where something special is needed more
He was born at 28 weeks.
than where the frailty of the patients is revealed when mom caresses their little hands.
Big 2 pounds, 10 ounces.
This is a place of great medical care, but not all here are doctors or RNs.
Hey, little nugget.
Some,
Oh, look at you. Ooh, stretching so big.
simply have their master's degree in TLC.
I know.
This is the neonatal intensive care unit at Moses Cone's Women's Hospital.
Some of the babies up here really are struggling to feel comfortable in their own little skin, and so we get a chance to love on them and hold them.
Holding them, that simple gesture.
For all of the all the moms here. Well, there's a couple days or weeks. That's a big thing.
For the babies, too. But that wasn't always the thinking.
It used to be that it was considered a win if you just got a baby to survive, and we've sort of changed our goals. It goes back to nature.
And the wisdom of the millennia.
It really is basic love and nurture.
Susan Cochran is a NICU nanny, a group that thinks of itself as the few, the proud,
So I try and do this as calmly as possible.
and harder to get into
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
than the Marine Corps.
And the reason being, these are very fragile, at-risk babies.
The nurses take care of the things that are really quite frightening. As a NICU nanny, it's just, I'm on the periphery of that. I get maybe the good stuff.
The stuff that even the most sophisticated medical science now understands is not just therapeutic,
What you want to tell me?
but necessary, including skin-to-skin nurturing.
Oh, yes.
The skin to skin it helps with stabilizing blood sugar. It enhances all of these things that we're doing medically.
Social worker Colleen Shaw has seen how that plays out over the crucial early years.
I lived in Romania for a few years and saw babies who were not nurtured at all. And at 2 years, they had no developmental skills. They couldn't sit up, they couldn't walk.
We're seeing some of this stuff. It's like, well, of course, what were we thinking?
The volunteer NICU nannies, who probably don't even realize the love they whisper all day,
Sweet girl.
bring a healing touch to a place in which it is most needed, in a way no medicine can.
Don't ever underestimate the power of the human touch.
Night, night.
Bob Buckley.
Night, night. Night, night, buddy.
I don't think they can get any better care.
Fox 8 News.
For Jenny, it started with the promise for a better life.
He said that he just wanted help because I was like a daughter for him.
For her safety, we're hiding her face and real name.
He just wanted to help me to go back to school.
An offer of a lifetime for a 15-year-old girl with few resources in Mexico. A new life in the United States.
When we got to the apartment, it was just like, it wasn't what he said, obviously.
She says the man basically made her his prisoner and sex slave.
I didn't speak English back then. I didn't understand anything. And so he said that I couldn't leave because he did something for me and he was gonna do it anyway, so I had to stay there and do whatever he asked me to do.
And according to Joseph Gallion with the Department of Homeland Security, that kind of manipulation is a common strategy for human traffickers.
They take the victimization part out of what they're doing and tell them, you're now a criminal because you've been smuggled into the United States.
And unfortunately, survivor advocates say Jenny's story is just one of many.
I think the biggest misconception is that it happens not in the United States.
World Relief High Point Director Andrew Timby says our location and major events like the ACC Tournament and High Point Furniture Market make the Piedmont Triad ripe for both labor and sex trafficking.
It is slavery. And for those of us that have thought slavery is gone, it's not. It has just taken on different forms.
A couple weeks ago, agents released information about Operation Ayúdame, or Help Me. They said a tip in 2009 led to the arrests of 30 people in Winston-Salem, charged with running 9 brothels in that city. Gallion says 4 women and a minor were forced to have sex with men for years before they could be saved.
Very few people are understanding that it couldn't happen in their backyard.
To people like Jenny, who says she's not mad anymore, but still lives in fear.
you never know if they're like, looking for you or trying to do anything because they're mad because you got away from them. So it's hard to start building your life, but it's good that there are people who actually care.
What could be a long investigation ahead begins with this. One Winston-Salem police officer marking the 3-mile stretch between Cleveland Avenue and Cap Street, where 54-year-old John Otis Hill was dragged to his death.
What would you say if we told you that you could follow the trail of blood for miles to find that body?
Wow, that would be terrible.
Gladys and Leon Freeman saw police, but didn't know what had happened until long after Hill was hit, just after 9 o'clock last night.
I just noticed when we came back from the Kingdom Hall that all this activity was going on.
Police were also at this gas station on the corner of Akron Drive and Ogburn Avenue. 2 miles into the drive, it appears whoever was behind the wheel stopped, then took off again. Police found Hill's body on the corner of Cap and Idlewild Industrial in the business park surrounding the airport. There was no one around to give a description of that vehicle.
Up where the waters flow south, and for generations, so did most of the sediments.
Lord, longer than I can remember.
There is, hidden among the illegible markers,
it's probably one of the oldest graveyards around, I guess.
One that speaks loud and clear.
Just says he was a Civil War veteran, 92 years of age.
That in itself isn't unusual, because you'd be hard-pressed to find
family in this area. I don't think it wasn't touched by the Civil War in some way.
But those are mostly past tense. Moe's triplets effect,
they called him Uncle Mose,
is very much in the present.
In this community, he was a well-known person.
At 16, Mose joined his friends and kin from Wilkes County in the Confederate Army and was on his way to Gettysburg, where more than 90% of his North Carolina regiment was killed, wounded, or captured. But Mose never made it there because he was hospitalized with a fever, and a few days later, Mose deserted.
There's some triplets that live in the holler, and they'd all sit around and drink moonshine, play a little music, and you'd hear all kinds of stories.
Stories about how Mose followed a strain of mountain sentiment in North Carolina and joined the Union Army in 1864, fighting long enough to earn a pension, $73 a month, and he collected it for more than half a century.
These people were tough. Daggone, they were tough. They had to be.
Mose lived out his life in a house that stood here, a good stone's throw from his beloved Elk River. His wife eventually died in the 1920s, and Mose married a woman 50 years his junior.
Yes.
Quite a tale.
It is a good story. It keeps on getting better.
Drive with Mose's grandson, Charlie Triplet, just up the road a piece, and you'll find something that is truly the last of its kind.
Yeah, I remember that.
Irene Triplet remembers the stories her father told.
He fit for the South. The North and the South was a fighting.
Mose was 84 when his new wife gave birth to Irene, and at 84 now herself, her memory
Yeah, he did. He walked out.
isn't pristine.
Yeah, I was 8 years old when he walked out and went to Gettysburg.
That part's true. Even though he didn't fight in the battle, Mose went to the reunion in Gettysburg in 1938, where President Roosevelt tried to continue the healing Abraham Lincoln started 75 years earlier.
Veterans of the blue and the gray.
Mose came back home, but died a few days later from cancer.
I can't remember too much about it because I was too young to remember.
But like the great river, the stories will flow, and Irene eventually heard that her father was both blue and gray.
Yeah, it was on both sides. Oh boy, it was a mess. I mean, a mess.
But it was blue that eventually turned to green, as Irene can only shake her head when she realizes she's the final person to receive a pension from the Civil War.
Yeah, well, the last one.
Even though he was a hard man, he's kind of made sure his family was took care of, even after he's gone.
He was fortunate in that I think that that he chose the route he did. I admire him for it. I really do.